ask Gabrielle Williams to come on the program, who declined. On the line now, though, is John Pasuto, the member for Hawthorn. Hello, John.
G'day, Jacqui. Good to talk to you.
Well, you've had an interesting day, haven't you?
Oh, well, look, I feel your pain and I feel the pain of all of our listeners. It was just an outrage sitting there listening this morning when I was asking, and my colleagues and I were asking the Minister and her senior officials, when did you first learn about the Schindler stuff, which occurred from October 2024? The evidence they gave was that they didn't learn about it, apparently, for another year. And then even then, it took a month before somebody referred it to Victoria Police, and that was the cop-out. And I put to the Minister, Jacqui, you've been telling us, you and the Premier and all of the senior ministers have been telling us you've got this sorted. You know, people should refer things to the police and you've got structures in place. And yet, nobody did anything for a year. And it took another month for it to be referred to Victoria Police, and there's no responsibility. And the only consolation, the ray of hope, Jacqui, is we'll fix this if Jess Wilson and all of us on her team can form the next government. This has to be fixed. It's an outrage. You've listed a number of the top items over the last few days, but we could be here for hours and hours going through them all.
Okay, so can you explain to the listeners today what these hearings are for and why they matter, and how come the government continues to fail to answer any important question in them?
Well, I'll answer the last part first, because they can. They avoid the question, they waste time. These hearings are really important, Jacqui. For everyone listening, they're really important because it's about how the government spends your money. And I've got to say, on 2 days of hearings so far, you wouldn't be happy with what you'd be hearing if you were sitting in the room or watching it online. It's our opportunity, particularly for those of non-government members, to ask serious questions about how we can make sure the taxes and charges that are being levied on Victorians are being put to good use. And when you see $6 million defrauded allegedly from Victorian taxpayers, when you see bikies and people with rap sheets as long as your arm getting forced onto projects, you know, at the expense of good, hard-working firms, you just shake your head and you go, we need change in this state. We'll provide it, Jacqui. We've got a whole list of reforms. We have a plan to fix this, and Jess has been, I think, on your show many times talking about that. So as bad as it is, for everyone listening, as bad as all this is, and it is bad, just remember there are solutions, and Jess and all of us on our team will provide those solutions.
Well, can we go back to the IVAC as well? And I think this is why it's particularly egregious. So you banded together with all the minor parties, even the Greens, and tried to get reforms with follow the money powers. So exactly. What infrastructure is in place other than saying this alleged, take it to the police, which clearly isn't happening, for there to be accountability with corruption on the big build?
Yeah, it's interesting, Jacqui. I just raced out of the hearing room having asked Minister Ingrid Stitt, who has responsibility for IVAC, will she commit to do that? And all I got was the government's looking at it. Now, where we are in the electoral cycle, don't hold your breath that this government will allow IVAC to have follow the money powers, because just like a Royal Commission, you know what it's going to do? It's going to expose the flaws and the failures of this government to crack down on corruption. But essentially, in very simple terms for everybody to get an appreciation of what this is about, currently, IVAC is limited in really only investigating the conduct of public sector officials. It gets very difficult, if not impossible, for IVAC to go beyond that and look at subcontractors and contractors who are not part of government but are winning government tenders. Now, it doesn't mean they can't be investigated. There are some circumstances when IVAC can go a bit further, but it's very limited. So we've championed the value of integrity by wanting to extend IVAC's powers so it can follow the money. And if it were able to do this, along with the Royal Commission, you'd be able to crack down on this stuff. And that's why, one, we've been talking about a Royal Commission, and two, giving IVAC powers, because IVAC has the powers of a standing Royal Commission. So you don't get this ability for people to say, refer it to the cops. I mean, the cops will do what they can, but they're not resourced to actually go in and properly investigate industrial relations abuses that we'll see on taxpayer-funded sites.
Thank you. That's John Pasuto, the Liberal member for Hawthorn. As I said, we did ask Gabrielle Williams to come on the program. As usual, declined.